This is Ken Allison, along with Lake Morris of the Anderson Independent Mail, and this is Mostly Sports Talk. And when Lake is here, mostly we talk high school sports, and that's what we're going to get into right now because that is his forte with the Independent Mail, and it keeps him pretty busy.
Last night to Dorman 3-0. Cross country wrapped up last Saturday, and then the girls tennis playoffs are still going on. But we only have about Hannah, and I think that's it for the area. So it's slowing down a little bit for us, but in about a month we'll be picking back up with winter sports.
And basketball comes along. That's the girls and boys, and so all of that is going to be happening. Right now, the big thing is football, and our area has some people going to be in the playoffs, and we had the big game last week with Hannah and Westside. This time it was held out at Westside, and it was a back-and-forth affair that went into overtime, and you were there.
It was, and it lived up to the hype of being a region title game, I think. Of course, Hannah was able to get an early lead there, but in the end, 5 turnovers proved to be their undoing. I know there's a lot of controversy with some of the plays that were done. Look at it either way, but when you turn the ball over 5 times, and even Coach Alice said this, when you turn it over 5 times, it's very, very hard to win. And, Westside took care of the ball better. They only had 1 turnover on the night. And so that was just kind of how it went. Now, like I said, I know there was a lot of controversy from both sides about how they thought some of the officiating was and all that, but
that's going to always be.
You
realize that, especially rivalry games.
Yeah.
Even the slightest call is going to say, that's not right. Even the slightest bit of a call is going to go against. I was listening to one of the radio broadcasts, and it's something in my day I would never have allowed. Every call that went against one of the schools, boy, somebody on that radio broadcast crew had something. And that's not your job. As a matter of fact, they used to. The high school league would crack down on radio stations who did that.
Yep. I will say this season has seemed particularly bad in football. Not sure if that's just one of those years where I've just been at games where that happens, but overall the officiating this year has been pretty poor, especially the last 5 weeks. I've seen some calls where, excuse me, and this is regardless of different teams. You
would think, Lake, that as the year has gone along, that the officiating should get better.
You would think that, man. At the start of the season, it actually looked pretty good. But especially the last 5 weeks, there's just been a slow decline in the quality of officiating. And I'm not sure if that's just the game's getting too fast for them, or if it's, the type of people that are volunteering to do this are are up to it anymore, or what it is. But I think that's definitely something the SCHSL has to look at across sports, because the past few weeks I've seen some very questionable volleyball officiating. So it's going across sports now, and like I said, we'll see if it improves during basketball and wrestling season. But the high school league has definitely found themselves in some mud holes this year
Well, you know that, of course, that there are people in the legislature who want to do away with the high school league and let the legislature take over running of high school sports in this state. One of the most horrible ideas I've ever heard of.
That is right up there. I agree with you on that one. Don't know what in the world they're doing, but if you want to give it to the state legislature and you want to look for a bunch of buffoons, you go down to Columbia and you find the people in the state house, because there's full of them down there.
I've never been a fan of the high school league. Down through the years, and all those years I was broadcasting and all, and then I've known of some various court cases about some things. I've always thought the high school league did not have the best thought of the players involved. They wanted all they wanted was their rules to be and they wanted to make the rules as they wanted to, no matter what the schools thought about it, what about it, and they would make these rules, and they would, anyway. Well, we have really diverged from talking about that football game.
And there is one example we can give. This isn't just sour grapes. As everyone knows, the 8-quarter rule was instituted this year to basically cut down on JV players also playing and dressing for varsity games. The league said this was done for player safety. Never have a right to use player safety as a reason because you want kids to play 3 football games in a week.
You can't do that.
No, and that, forget the 8-quarter rule. You're wanting them to play 12 quarters in a week.
Well, you can play on Monday and Friday after rainouts. I've seen that.
Yes.
If they couldn't play on Saturday, they play on Monday and then again on Friday. But you can't play, especially more important games as they've gotten to be. You certainly can't play 3.
And they finally, I think enough pushback from the state media finally got to them, and they decided to finally just push the season back a week, which many of us in the media were saying, why don't you just do that in the first place? That's an easier decision.
Yes, absolutely.
So that was, but again, we've completely different, but this is mostly sports talk, so we can.
That's right. Well, this is about sports, so yeah.
But yeah, back to the game on Friday. It was a great environment. This is probably the best Hannah Westside game the town has seen, in my opinion, in a decade. Most because the game hasn't really meant much outside of bragging rights for the past decade.
That's right, and this one really meant a lot.
It did. I know that there's a few years in there where maybe there was a playoff spot on the line or something like that, but when you throw a region title on top of it, that made this game very special, I think. And honestly, with the realignment we have coming up, which we'll touch on a little bit, I think, after the realignment, the Hannah Westside game could be for the next 2 region titles, I think, in Class 1-5A. But we'll have to see how it goes from there. But
all they've done is add an A.
Yeah, they did.
Well, they did away with the Big 16.
Yeah, they did.
And cut out that points mess.
We'll get to that points mess in a little bit when we talk about this week's playoff situation, because I have another bone to pick with the league on that one.
Okay.
But as far as this week goes for Hannah Westside, they're off this week. Like we said, the league pushed everything back a week. Playoff brackets for Class 4A have not been released yet, so I do not know who or where Hannah will be and Westside will be playing. My guess is Westside will be at home, and since Hannah was a 4 seed out of the region, they will likely be on the road somewhere.
Okay, I have some information that people tell me that they will play the winner of the is it Blythewood or Berkeley and Spring Valley game.
I would imagine it'd probably be Blythewood or Spring Valley game.
Yeah, and if the not Spring Valley, but whichever other team they're playing, if they win, they will come to Hannah. Okay. Now here's another thing. See, all the upper state teams have a week off.
Yes.
And the lower state teams have to play again. So that could be good, that could be bad.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter remains that the West Side and Hannah and people up here get a chance to heal up some bruises, but they also get a chance to be rusty. So, and it's not the high school league's fault this time, but the weather,
the weather did this, and this was the right response by the high school league after the wrong response initially. But we do have football this week in Class 2A and 3A in the area. Game of the week this week is going to be BHP versus Union County, I think. That's going to be a monster matchup in the Class 3A region, I believe.
Now, Union County is going to come in here without a fantastic record, but when you consider who they played earlier, it makes a big difference.
Very deceptive 4-6 record. Coach Blackston has already told me that he said, Union County would probably be a 1 or a 2 seed in some other regions, but just by the way their region was set up this year, they're unfortunately a 3 seed this year, but a very, very tough 3 seed. And this, I think, has a potential to be an upset for Union County if BHP does not come to play with an A game, because
but basically the Bears come to play most of the time.
They do, I think so, and I'm expecting a very, very close game this Friday in Honeypath, but I think it'll be a great game. Two of the state's perennial 3A programs in the upper state are facing off for just the second time in their history, I believe. I think the last time they played was in 2007. Union County, I believe, won that game 20-14, but that was the only time they've ever played. So, big matchup there. But besides that, most of our teams in the area are going to be on the road this Friday. Of course, Seneca, kind of a area team, they're going to be hosting Pickens. If that makes anyone scratch their head, Pickens got in as a at-large bid this year. So Seneca already beat Pickens this year, and I'd expect that to probably repeat this Friday at Tom Bass Field. Just looking at the rest of the 3A teams from here, Wren is going to be going to number 10 Lancaster. That is a very, very tough matchup for Wren. Lancaster's a quality team. They are 8-2 this year, playing a very, very tough region. They are second place to South Point. So that tells you the type of region they had to play in.
Right.
I guess the last team in 3A in this area, Daniel, will be going to the aforementioned South Point. That is not a good matchup for Daniel this year. South Point is loaded again this year, and that's going to be a very, very tough order for Randy Robinson's team to overcome this week, especially with that long bus ride that it takes to get there.
Okay.
But really, the last team we have in the area is Pendleton. I just want to ask you a little trivia question. What's Pendleton's record this year? I know the answer. I just want to see if you know it.
They've won 5.
8-2.
No, okay, all right.
They finished second in the region. You'd think so. By logic, you'd say they're hosting a playoff game this week, right?
Yeah, but they're having to go to.
They're going to Newberry because.
Wait a minute. Where'd they come in their league?
They came in second place in their league.
Second in the league.
Yes.
And they've got to go play a 1.
This is a byproduct of I'm going to say this bluntly, the extremely idiotic point system the league has instituted here. There's no way, I think, in next year this matchup will not happen because the point system is going away. Pendleton would be hosting a playoff game next year if they were in 3A. So this is I talked to Paul Sutherland about this. He is not happy about this at all, as you can imagine he would be.
No.
And on the same token, if the shoe was on the other foot, Newberry would have the exact same gripe, I think. But Newberry does come in as the defending upper state champions. So it's going to be both teams are 8-2. I think this will probably be a marquee game in the 2A playoff this year. 2A Division 1, excuse me. Another dumb idea, splitting the divisions.
Yeah, they've done that before, and now that'll be taken care of. We may touch on that a little bit.
But, I honestly don't know how to gauge this game. I'll be at it. We'll just have to see how it goes. Pendleton's had a good season. They have some good players. I'm not sure how they match up with number 5 Newberry, though. That's going to be a very tough order for them, and just one of those very rough open around playoff matches that a fan of me was hoping this would probably be a upper state title game matchup or a game to get to the upper state title game, but we're getting in the first round, so maybe we'll get a good first round playoff game this year.
Okay, great.
But that wraps it up for our area playoff teams. Not that much action going on, but the action we have this week is very pivotal.
All right, let's take a quick look, just a quick look at the 5, 4, and 3A and this new lineup that is, to me, it's almost as if they just added an A, but it's not true. They did away with the so-called Big 16.
Yes.
And they did away with those 2 divisions in 4A, and the 2 divisions also
in 2 in single A, yes.
Yeah, so that was one of the things they did, but they moved everybody up 1, but they needed to.
Yeah, they did. There were some major mismatches in the last realignment, especially in 3A. You'd have a team like BHP with over 1,000 students at their school playing a team like Palmetto, which has probably about 800 students. You don't think that's that big a difference, but when you have 200 extra kids to pick from, that increases your chances of finding those special players you need.
Yeah, all you need to get out of that is 3 or 4 players.
Yes, it is. And like I said, Palmetto was pretty much a strong 2A team, especially in other sports, but the move to Western 3A was not kind to them at all, and Doug Shaw has said they are very happy to be going to another region this next season. But if you